For the Ministry of Education and Culture, I am April Glasgow with today's special GIS report. Joining me on today's program is Acting Chief Education Officer Mrs. Connie George, here to speak about the additional school year, or what you may know is the 12th grade. Thank you, Ms. George, for joining me on today's program.
Thank you for having me, Ms. Glasgow, and I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so a lot of persons are getting there in terms of the additional school year. There's a lot of information being shared, but can you just emphasize for us exactly what is the rationale behind having the additional school year?
The additional school year came up many years ago, and I could recall myself also doing an extra year even when I was in school. However, it was not official at that time. What we found happening was students were going K through 6 and then moving into Form 1, which we always call grade 8. And as a result of that, they were going 5 years in high school, secondary education, which gave us a total of 11 years. As a result of that, many times when our transcripts were sent abroad or when students went overseas, they found themselves being faced with, are you finished with secondary education? Because your transcript is only saying that you have done 11 years. That was one of our main reasons why we started looking so closely at what we could do to adjust this problem. And then we also had the issue with students who were ending up going overseas, enrolling in colleges, not continuing because they were not prepared or they did not have the skill set necessary. And even at our own local community college, we were having many of our students having to go into pre-college courses. In fact, we were, as a country, losing quite a lot of money. Those are some of the main areas that we were looking at and saying, listen, we need to do some adjustments. We need to make some changes as to how our students are matriculating through our system. We found out that as we look at all systems nearly, that there was a grade 7. And we could not account for that grade 7 in our nomenclature. So as a result of that, we decided, okay, let's make an adjustment, and we are going to add grade 7 to our nomenclature. So now we have changed the whole thing over from stages and classes and forms to grades. We now have K through 12. Now, when we looked at also at where this additional year will be located, and I know this is a problem, many people are saying, why don't you put it in the primary school? But we do have K through 12, which is the 7 years that comes in the primary or elementary level. When we looked at where we would actually locate the 7th grade, it was easier from all respects to have it added to the secondary location. If we were going to add it to the primary schools, would mean having to add 19 new classrooms. And when we put it onto the high school, we have to accommodate Claudia Creaky, we have to accommodate Brigada Flag Secondary and Elmo Stout High School. So it made a lot more financial sense, it made a lot more economic sense to just seek to find space or to make space for this additional year at the secondary level.
Okay, thank you, Ms. George. So what I'm hearing is, in its practical sense, that it would make a lot more sense to include or attach the additional grade to the secondary public schools. And also what I'm understanding is that we are also bringing our education system up to international standards.
Yes.
That's correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, I know, as I said, you've been doing a lot of information sharing, but can you just remind the public, what are some of the benefits to students of having the additional school year?
Ms. Glasgow, as we look at the secondary level where we have added a year, we now have 3 years in junior secondary school, and an additional 3 years in senior secondary school. So we are looking at the benefits from those two perspectives, where in the junior school we want to ensure we have greater foundation building. Students are then ready to matriculate to the senior school. Additional instructional and preparation time in the senior high school. We also look at the mastery of learning for all students. We are at a place right now where we understand and students learn differently. And at times there's a tendency for us to just make sure that the average child has gotten it and then we move on. And sometimes even the above average child, and then we move on. But we want to put an emphasis, and this school year we're going to be really putting some emphasis on the mastery of learning and differentiated instruction, differentiated learning as we go through, because we realize that we cannot only cater for the average and above average. We have to extend and make sure that all students be learning the information as it's being shared by teachers. It's so important. We also want to see improved performance in basic subjects and the softer skills development. Also, preparation for the workforce. We have had continuous complaints from the employers that, listen, these students that we are receiving are not ready. How can we fix that? We have to try to fix it through our entire system as we send the students out from here, that they would have the basics that they need for the workforce. Easier transition from secondary to tertiary is as another reason why we have identified as an additional benefit. Opportunity of dual enrollment for advanced placement students. You know, a number over the years, our system have hardly catered to the above average child. Those that we would call AP students or advanced students who are getting all A pluses regardless of what you throw at them, and we do have some of those. And so we are saying to those students, here's an opportunity for you to start your college level courses from high school level. So they will complete their high school in grade 11 and be enrolled at our local community college. And along with that, we are also offering advanced placement in Cape. And so that will also be another reason why we are a benefit as we see it. And we want to see our improvement in our external examination results. And these examinations include like CSEC, Caribbean Secondary Education. The CAPE I just mentioned is Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Exam. We have the RSM, which is the music exam. We have the CVQs, which will be mainly at the technical school. Okay. VIS, that's the Caribbean Vocation Qualification, which is the technical subjects, woodwork, food and nutrition, and the list can go on. Eventually, we're looking at the City and Guilds exams that comes out of the UK. So there are a myriad of reasons why we are saying that we want to offer or additional year in our system. And frankly, as I mentioned before, the aligning of our education system with international standards is another benefit that we can easily transition from one place to the other.
Excellent. So it's all about the students, the additional school year. I think a lot more viewers better appreciate exactly why it is we have the additional school year, and of course all the benefits that comes along with it. I also know that this coming school year that there will be a credit program introduced. Would you like to speak to that?
Yes, Ms. Glasgow, we introduced the credit system from last year, actually. The 10th graders, the 11th graders now. It's introduced in our senior secondary school, where we are saying to our students that in order to be promoted to another grade, you need to have accumulated 20 of the 25 credits minimum. So the maximum number of credits per school year, 25, but we do have some room for those students who may not master everything, and so 20 minimum. Included in that, we have some select subjects that they must pass, which are the math, English, the general science, the social science, financial services or tourism. They must pass their one vocational subject, and they also must have their industry skills.
You mentioned that it made more practical sense to attach the additional school year to the secondary public schools.
Yes.
And I know that would have caused some logistics concerns in terms of where we'll have these additional classes. So can you speak to that? I know that there is space being made up at the H. Laveristo Community College campus. So can you just remind the public as to how that specific scheme will work?
Okay, Ms. Glasgow, remember, we are ultimately going to have these classes on the school locations: Elmo Stout High School, Brigade of Flags, and if necessary, Claudia Creaky Educational Center. So they are supposed to be buildings erected to accommodate the extra grade on the campuses. However, for this school year, this upcoming 2016-2017 school year, we were not able to get the buildings in place. So as a result of that, we came up with a plan B, and that plan B was to have the students located at the community college's site. And that is going to happen both in Virgin Gorda and on Tortola. So all classes will be conducted at the H. Live Distal Community College site. The practical subjects, or I should say the technical areas, will have to go back to the campus because HLSCC does not have the facilities there to accommodate those. So all the other subjects will be at the H. Live Distal Community site, and the technical subjects will be at the school site.
Thank you. And what will a typical school day look like for students? The start time to end time, and I also know that there was some arrangement for transportation. Can you speak to that?
Okay. I may speak to the Elmo Stout High School first of all, because there was a whole lot more detail than the Brigade of Flags. Elmo Stout High School will be busing the students from the campus location to HLSCC. We are hoping to leave the campus site at about 8:40 on the ringing of the school bell. Transportation will then take them to HLSCC, and we are hoping to start school there at 9 a.m. in the usual format of their assemblies, their meetings, and then going into the first period class. Classes will be 1 hour as usual and 1 hour for lunch as usual. Lunch will be on the campus just like it is at ESHS. We are looking forward to having the facilities available. So classrooms have already been identified. The labs, whether computer or science labs, will be available to us. We'll have spaces there for the administration that will be located permanently on that campus for the duration of the time. So yes, we will be having administration located at that location for the duration of the time. We are also looking forward to having additional security guards on that ground to ensure that our students are safe and controlled. It is so important for us that we ensure that our students are safe. Students will wear their uniform as usual, and they need to come dressed in their uniform as they would have done at ESHS. They will have their IDs as usual, but there'll be an attachment affixed to that ID signifying their time on the HLSCC campus. That is also to give them access to the electronics and to the computers, etc., while they're there.
Excellent. So can you speak to the logistics involving Brigade of Flags?
Brigade of Flags students will be on that HLSCC campus. Again, they will go back to their campus for the technical subjects, and unfortunately they have to go back for science labs because there are no labs at the HLSCC campus. All other classes will be conducted at the HLSCC site.
Okay.
They also will have an administrator on that ground daily, and we are also beefing up the security, and all the other facilities will be in place. In Brigade of Flags, they do not have a culture of staying on campus for lunch, so we are still allowing them to do exactly what they have been doing in terms of their lunch arrangements. That will also fall in place.
Okay. I think a lot of parents are also curious in terms of the instruction of both the the secondary public school courses in addition to the college courses.
Okay.
How is that going to work? Is it that college instructors will be the ones facilitating the courses at HLSCC?
Remember, the students that we are going to be having on the HLSCC campus are all our 12th grade students. So they will be having their teachers, as usual, that would have been with them at ESHS and also at BFEC. Those are the ones who will be doing the instruction. the majority of the students will be doing their courses for credits. They'll be doing their preparation for CSEC exams as usual. And the same teachers that would have instructed them at ESHS or BFEC will instruct them at the college site. However, when we look at those students who are going to be doing CAPE and dual enrollment, the CAPE students, we have already identified some of our local instructors or teachers who are qualified to teach the CAPE. They will be doing a training come this August, and they will be the ones who will be doing the CAPE instruction for the first unit that we will be doing at the secondary level. Dual enrollment is exactly as it says, college courses being taken by high school students, and therefore college instructors will be doing the dual enrollment classes.
Okay, thank you so much. I think a lot of persons are a lot more clear as to how students will fare up at HLSCC. Can you also remind the public in terms of how many students are we talking about for the additional school year?
For ESHS, we have on record right now in our 11th grade 173 students. And for BFEC, we have 42 students. For Claudia Creaky Educational Center, we have 3 students.
Well, thank you, Ms. George. Before we wrap up, there's also matters involving perhaps nurse and having a school nurse and counseling. Is that also something that's been considered?
Yes, we have considered that. Our counselor from Elmer Stout High School and the counselor from Brigada Flags will have to deal with the students at HLSCC. So they will be commuting back and forth between the 2 stations. The nurse, we have been gracious, and the college have been gracious to us to allow us to use their medical facilities there, and the nurse that is there locally will also attend to our students. At BFEC, the same structure will hold for them as they would have always gone to the nearby clinic to deal with any kind of medical issues that they would have.
Excellent, thank you. Ms. George, any closing words for our viewers, for our parents or students watching today's program?
Ms. Glasgow, all I would like to say to parents is that from the Ministry of Education point of view, we are really doing our very best to ensure that there's a continuation of education for the students in 12th grade in the upcoming year. We have started this quest where we realize that we want to improve our system, and with every new initiative there will be some growing pains and some uncertainties, but be rest assured that everything that we can do, we are doing to ensure that things will go smoothly. The students will not feel any sense of disruption. However, they will see the benefits and they will gain from this additional year, that at the end of 12th grade, and students may have completed a CAPE exam, or they may have completed their CSEC exams, done their community service, we could actually have some students coming out from 12th grade with as many as 23 credits towards their college course at HLSCC. Or if they opt not to do college credits, they can have opportunities to do much, much better on their CSEC exams, on their credits, community service, and move on with a stronger foundation into tertiary education. We are really looking forward to what is going to happen over the next several years. We wouldn't see the change in 1 year, but over the next several years, we get our entire system going from K through 12, and we see the strength that is coming out with our students, that they're able to compete anywhere in the world and stand shoulder to shoulder with anybody on their grade level. That's what we're looking for.
Thank you, Ms. George, for joining me again.
You're welcome.
Creating a culture of excellence is the Ministry of Education and Culture. I've been your host, April Glasgow. Thank you for watching.